Hello everybody, this is Kirby over Yonder, and I'm very excited to finally be able to talk about one of my favorite cartoons, Wander Over Yonder. I absolutely love this show, from the characters, to the animation, to the music, to the voice acting. Everything in this show is just wonderful to me. I mean, I know it's not objectively the best cartoon in the world, but as far as my personal favorites go, Wander is definitely up there. The only problem with making the best Wander Over Yonder list is that there are so many great episodes that I unfortunately had to make some utterly painful cuts. So apologies if your favorite episode didn't make the list. With that said, here are the absolute best episodes of Wander Over Yonder. Number 15, The Breakfast. Starting out with a simple one, The Breakfast is just a pleasant episode. We basically get to see the average morning of both Wander and Lord Hater, as well as how much their personalities clash with each other. I love how Lord Hater has absolutely everything a person could ask for, yet is still miserable, while Wander has almost nothing, yet is the happiest person in the galaxy. I mean, it's like Cuddly Whiskers said, only when you give up everything can you truly find a way to be happy. The Breakfast is an interesting and fun episode of Wander Over Yonder. Number 14, The Pet. Wander and Sylvia encounter a dangerous, spooky, mysterious ship where Wander befriends a horrifying, evil monster thing. I love the way Wander's happy-go-lucky, optimistic personality contrasts with the dark atmosphere of the ship that he's on. I also really like the design of Captain Tim. This episode also has some really neat lighting that makes it different from most other Wander Over Yonder episodes. And Sylvia's side plot is just hilariously over the top. I love it. The Pet is a slightly creepy, but still very enjoyable episode. Number 13, The Framergency Fraunfracht. Great title, writers. This episode's actually really funny. Just watching all the weird stuff Lord Hater does in this episode is comedic gold. The episode also presents a nice message that letting go of your personal hang-ups can make you a happier person. I'm not saying be a downright idiot like Lord Hater is in this episode, but sometimes the best thing you can do is just enjoy the moment. I appreciate how Wander Over Yonder has these subtle messages to them. They don't beat you over the head with them, but they do come up every so often. But of course, the main reason why this episode was on here was because of the ending, where we actually see Wander be mean to Lord Hater because he knows that their friendship wouldn't last. It's a very emotionally powerful scene, and one that I'm sure most people didn't see coming. Framergency Fraunfracht is a funny but also very beautiful episode. Number 12. The Rider. Sylvia meets back up with her old partner, voiced by Will Arnett, who she teams up with Wander acting as sort of the third wheel. This episode takes a very interesting look into Wander and Sylvia's friendship. Sure, Ryder may be cooler and get into a lot of dangerous schemes, but at the end of the day, Wander is the one who makes her a good person, and is the one that Sylvia would rather spend her time with. I love how awkward and out of place Wander is in comparison to Ryder, as well as how over the top and ridiculous that ending is. The Rider was a great ending to Season 1 and an interesting look at Wander and Sylvia's friendship. Number 11. The Battle Royale. Battle Royale is an epic episode where we get to see all of the main villains in Wander Over Yonder fight for a rain pop. It's still really epic, trust me. This is a really cool episode where we get to see all of the main villains come together and show off all their unique and interesting powers. There are also some pretty funny interactions, like when the villain actually does manage to get the ring, but he doesn't actually know what to do with it, so he just puts it back and leaves. Interactions like that make this episode very rewatchable, as well as some of the very interesting fight scenes. This episode is also what introduced Lord Hater's crush on Lord Dominator, which ended up being a really funny side plot for the season. The Battle Royale is a really cool episode, and definitely a fan favorite. Number 10. The Time Bomb. In this episode, Yonder enters Sylvia in a race without realizing how competitive she can be. What I like about this episode is the advice that Yonder gives to Sylvia to just close your eyes and forget that there are other people around you. When you're stressed, the best thing you can do is stop, breathe, and assess the situation. Like The Rider, this is one of those episodes that really highlights the amazing friendship that Yonder and Sylvia have with each other. Easily one of the best episodes from Season 1. Number 9. The Brainstorm. The Brainstorm is a simple but hilarious episode, where Lord Hater and Commander Peepers try to think of a new way to defeat Wanderer. There's really not much to say about this one. All of the weird schemes that Hater comes up with, as well as the ridiculous ways that Wanderer ends up defeating those schemes, are all hilarious from start to finish. The Brainstorm is proof that you don't always need this crazy, amazing, grand plot. Sometimes all you need is a simple concept with some good writing, and boom, you got a memorable episode. Number 8. The Matchmaker, or the 8-bit. The oldie timesy? Or, the status quo. Whatever this episode's title is. This is another simple but really funny episode where Sylvia tries to stop Wander from playing matchmaker with Lord Hater and Lord Dominator. This episode has a lot of neat callbacks to earlier episodes, and a really clever way of breaking the fourth wall. The Matchmaker is just a very fun episode. The Doppelgangers, or the Mechs, the Cavemen, the Dark Ages, the Swap, whatever this episode's title is. Number 7. The Cartoon. This episode is just delightful. We basically get to watch Lord Hater's weird propaganda cartoon, and it's amazing. If you're a fan of animation, you need to check this episode out. It's just brilliant. I also like how this episode is able to both make fun of and celebrate animation at the same time. Unlike Family Guy, which just feels passive-aggressive and bitter all the time, Wander Over Yonder manages to be self-aware without being pretentious. Whoa! I mean, they even added a Gravity Falls cameo for good measure. If you're a fan of animation, you need to watch this episode. It's brilliant from start to finish. Number 6. My Fair Haiti. It's no wonder a musical episode of a show like Wander Over Yonder would turn out so good. This is another fan favorite episode, mostly because of the songs. And it's honestly hard to argue with, considering the fact that the songs in this episode are some of the best songs in the series. The animation is also at its best here, particularly with the colors. It's also really cool seeing Wander and Hater on the same side in this one. I don't know, I have a soft spot for episodes where the main hero and the main villain team up, and this episode is a great example of that. My Fair Haiti is a very memorable episode that you definitely won't get out of your head. Number 5. The Void. The Void isn't really an episode, it's more of just 11 minutes of the animators drawing whatever they feel like it. Not saying that's a bad thing though, because it's one of the most creative episodes in the entire series. They do a lot of creative things with the animation in this episode, and it's really fun getting to see what Wander and Sylvia do with limitless possibilities. The highlight, of course, is the song. It's trippy as hell, but damn is it catchy. The Void is a unique and interesting experience that I often find myself going back to. Number 4. The Heebie-Jeebies. While The Heebie-Jeebies isn't a terrifying episode, it's one that definitely lives up to its title. Essentially, Wander and Sylvia have to go through the spooky woods in order to find something that'll defeat Lord Dominator. But there's something very off about these woods. These weird creatures keep popping up. with their gigantic smiles and weird movements. It's so inhuman. What makes it even spookier is the fact that Sylvia can't even see them until later in the episode, meaning that for a while, Wander has to face his fears alone. And the feeling of being alone is one of the scariest things to me. But I love the message at the end, that being that the best thing we can do with our fears is simply just stop believing in them, because we're taking away the power they have over us. This is another one of those episodes that really shows off the amazing friendship between Wander and Sylvia, and the episode also has a really good atmosphere. This episode may be spooky, but it's also one of those episodes that makes you feel like a better person after watching it, which is the best thing an episode of a cartoon can do. Number 3. The Wanders. Essentially, Wander goofs up and accidentally makes a million different clones of himself, all of which are based around one personality trait that he has. The episode has a lot of fun with the way it exaggerates Wander's different personality traits, but the episode also has a beautiful message that we need our entire personality, even the bad parts, because that's what makes us human, and taking that away from us would be dehumanizing us. It's a nice mix of both fun and profound that I expect from this show. The Wanders is a beautiful and heartwarming episode that I simply adore. Number 2. The Bot. Wander befriends a Dominator bot that plans to destroy him. This episode is actually a lot like The Wanders in that it starts out pretty fun, with a lot of neat gags with Wander and his new pal Beep Boop doing fun things together. But by the end, it becomes very, very profound. I absolutely love the message that just by being a good person, your actions can positively influence the people around you, even the most heartless of people. But this episode shows us that everything you say and do does matter and does have an effect on people. But the highlight of the episode is definitely the ending, where Beep Boop actually sacrifices himself to save Wander, Sylvia, and everyone else on the planet. This is just more proof that every little positive thing you do does have an effect on people and can change people for the better. The Bot is beautiful, heartwarming, and almost as good as Wander Over Yonder gets. However, in my opinion, there's one episode that I think is just a little bit better. Number 1. The Flower. I'm sorry, I know I've talked about this episode before, but I just love this episode way too much. From the animation, to the voice acting, to the music, the atmosphere, everything about this episode is just beautiful. But what I love most about this episode is the message, that it's okay to cry, and things won't be bad forever. I honestly think that that's a message that needs to be told more. Dominator is at her absolute most threatening in this episode, which really makes you feel for Wander and Sylvia. And the ending gives me chills every time I watch it. Watching the flower petals spread across every galaxy is so beautiful to me. To me, The Flower isn't just an episode, it's an experience. One that I think everybody deserves to watch. So please, even if you hate this show, please watch this episode. Dare I say, it's one of the best cartoon episodes I've ever watched. Hands down. To me, animation is a form of expression, and when I watch Wander Over Yonder, I can see the true good intentions of the writers shine through. They don't shy away from darker subjects, but they still keep things pleasant and fun, and talk to kids on their level. It's a show I can watch whenever I want, just to have a fun and pleasant time with some really likable characters. Are there any Wander episodes that you think I missed? Please let me know in the comments, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Kirby, out.